from UFL El Motor Pool.
I'm going to ambush the trucks as they come in.
Hello and welcome back to Frank's Penance. I'm here at Mike's bar. I'm just heading inside because I've heard that some of my buddies are here and they've got some missions for me. So I want to go see what's what on this fine morning in South Mali. Here's the guy I rescued recently, Kubani Singh. Let's see what he has to say.
I have a situation. I wonder if you can help me. The factions are experimenting with a new type of ammunition. They have a new prototype. It seems promising. I want it. It's being stored at the local constable's garage. Do you think you could get it and bring it to me?
So basically he wants me to steal him some prototype ammo. Not too interesting. I wanted to see what Mr. Ferenc had to offer instead.
Want to take a little sides up? APR's been using this nasty old school defoliant called Agent Yellow. It's good, it works. I know some guys would pay big bucks for this poison. The formula's somewhere at the chemical dump. Feel like taking a look around to see if you can find it?
So Paul's mission is pretty similar. He wants me to find some Agent Yellow for him, pretty much just for his personal sake. So 2 missions which are just helping my buddies out. No particular reason to do either of them. I decided to go with Kubani's one just because it seemed like taking those prototype ammunitions away from the factions would probably be a good idea in terms of stopping the factions getting too deadly. So now I need to head out to the police station where it's being held and try and jack this ammo from their garage. Let's get going. Once my mother had calmed a bit, I got into explaining everything that had happened to me since I'd stopped talking to her, applying a forced rose tint to the whole thing. Prison seemed like a run-of-the-mill part of life in my words, and I think she actually bought into it, probably because she was desperate to believe it was true for me. I even managed to spin the IRA operations as Boy Scoutish fun that built my character and left me both better off and with a strong hate of the IRA. I ended up spinning for so long that I had to stay the night there. By the end of our conversation, which noticeably never mentioned what my mother had been through, I had consoled her so much that she even seemed to have a whit of pride in me, or at least a belief that it was all going to get better from here on. I felt pretty good about myself too as I went to give my old bed one more go. I think I believed what I was saying a little. I knew it wasn't true, but it was like I was willing to let my memories corrupt for my own good. My old room was just as untouched as my father's possessions, save for the bed being freshly made beneath a layer of dust. In the morning I shared a traditional breakfast with Mother, not talking about the past this time, but instead saying what I could about my current work. She knew I needed to leave soon to get back for an important meeting, as I had described it, but her face betrayed her sorrow. This was her chance to cling to something she held dear before it disappeared like everything else. But I wasn't going to oblige. I hadn't grown up that much yet. So eventually it came to goodbyes, but I assured her I would return. Didn't mention that the return might be in a body bag. I returned to my car, drove to the next town, and then posted a package stuffed full of money back home. I felt it would offend my mother to give it to her in person, but I still wanted to buy some respect from her if I could, especially since being wealthy was all I had going for me at the moment. During the long drive home, I heard some reports on the radio of more IRA terrorism. This further compounded a thought that had been growing in my head for the whole visit, that there had to be a better way, a way to achieve change without just starting a war and then attempting to win it. Hell if I knew what that way was, but it was the first time I started seriously trying to find out. But for now, I couldn't devote too much mental space to those ideas, since I was busy wondering if the loan sharks were going to have my body turn up in some abandoned warehouse next week. When I got back home, I had a load of phone messages from Tony and even a note under the door. He had gone slightly overboard, believing that not being in contact for a day or two meant I had deserted the sting altogether. I called him and found out he'd almost cancelled the sting in my absence. It made me realise that I hadn't even considered just staying at home and leaving this whole operation to rot. Maybe I still had a streak of normality about me, because the main draw of coming back to work was a sense of usefulness and stability. It was a nice taste of the hidden motivations of everyday life, but I had forgotten that taste entirely by the end. So the plan began in earnest now I was back on the scene. First I had to prepare my flat to make it look like I was about to leave in a hurry, leaving documents from Tony around the place that would imply I really did have the money to pay the sharks but was just refusing. The plan was to create the illusion I was going to take the money and run for some larger foreign criminal syndicate to continue my upward career in the world of dirty money. The next phase was waiting for the thugs to arrive. Basically, I just hang around the flat ready to spring into the act of frantically packing to leave at a moment's notice. Tony was staking out on the street outside the building, waiting to warn me of their approach and take some incriminating photographs he'd eventually need to help the case. He had pulled some strings with the boss of the Shark Ring to have a meeting with him at the hotel that night, so if I was to be brought before him to explain my late payment, it would be done in front of Tony. Well, that was the hope at least. Not fully reassuring, since there are a million things that could stop Tony from saving me, but I had no better ideas. So I've now reached the police station where the prototype ammo is being held. I found there's an entrance towards the garages on the south side that I can take, avoiding the main police complex. There are a couple of guards here still who I can spot there through my monocular, so I'm going to take them out. I've got this sniper rifle, which is semi-automatic, so hopefully I can take them both out with 2 quick shots. They're not very far away, so it's very easy for me to snipe from this distance. I take them both down. But an enemy patrolling vehicle happens to pass at a very inopportune moment. I destroy it with a grenade and taking out the guards with my silenced pistol, so I'm okay there. So now the guys inside the police station almost definitely know what's going on. I'm expecting more guys to rush out. So I'm taking cover here on the left side of the approach, getting my rifle ready. There's already guys swarming out as I expected. One guy's seen me, I take him out with my sniper rifle. I know there are more in this police station and some of them are probably heading my way, but for now I don't see them. So I'm going to start moving up. The building you can see in front of me is where the actual ammo is being held, so I don't need to get that far in to steal the ammo, but there are lots of buildings beyond it where enemies could be hiding. I spot a guy who was taking cover behind that tree. He ran as I approached, which was a bad move, showing his back to me. I simply took him out with my pistol there. I'm now sneaking through this grass here because I am wearing a camo suit, which reduces my visibility in grass, but there are actually no enemies nearby, so I'm sneaking out to steal this ammo as well. That's going to restore ammo for all of my weapons, so more sniper rifle rounds to play with, which is always good news. So I get inside the garage, I spot the ammo at the end of the room, so I'm going to take it. So that's the first stage of the mission completed. All I have to do now is take it back to Mike's bar where I came from and deliver the prototype. Now the enemy are probably going to attempt to chase me on the way out, so I just wanted to see if there was anyone around who would see me leave. In particular, I know there are snipers hanging out on the towers in the distance. I'm using my rifle here to try and see any of them. I didn't spot any, but as I go over to the car, one of them's hitting me. I decide not to attempt to fight him and just run away. Luckily, he doesn't get a second shot off, and some of my health regenerates, so I'm okay. So now I need to think about getting back to Mike's bar. I decided that instead of taking the waterways, I would go on the road, since on the way on the rivers I was attacked several times, and actually it proved quite difficult to get here by river. There are many checkpoints on the river in the west side of South Mali. So I'm going to see if it's any easier to get back by road. There should be slightly fewer checkpoints to blast through on the way, and hopefully I'll survive the journey. Sure enough, eventually there was a heavy knock at the door. I kept quiet and didn't answer, letting the knocking turn into shouting and kicking. Just as I was about to go open the door, it was cracked open with a crowbar and 3 men burst in. At first, my warrior instinct started conjuring up a way to get the knives from the kitchen, but I had to play along and be submissive. 2 of them grabbed me and started demanding the money, but I didn't say anything. I had to take a few hits, but it was easy to ignore the pain. They took the bait from my well-dressed set and started asking me where I was planning to run to. I pretty much said nothing, and luckily enough they decided to take me to the bosses. But one of the guys stayed behind to search the flat in more detail. I realised I'd made a mistake in my preparation. I had assumed they'd only glance over everything, but hidden among my possessions were genuine documents from the police that would reveal my secret. So now I had to gamble that they didn't find them, or at least hope this whole scene played out before they did. I was dragged to the elevator and then out onto the street. Outside they forced me to act normal as I walked and even let go of me, but not before showing me their concealed weapons and letting me know what would happen if I ran. We walked right past Tony, who sat in his car pretending to be reading a map with headphones on. Around the corner I was bundled into the thug's car, with one of them sat beside me with something sharp jabbing into my side. They assured me I would regret not paying up on time, and even more so regret not talking to them straight away. They started describing their plan of what they were going to do to me. All standard stuff, but to hear it said about you is still pretty scary. I kept my cool extremely well, which noticeably unnerved them. Truly experienced thugs probably would have worked out that I was unfazed by all this, because I had an ace up my sleeve, but for now they just tried to joke about it. We drove to the back entrance of the hotel and I was bundled in by another hired goon. He looked like he'd been standing out there all afternoon in the sun for longer than he'd liked. Inside I was pushed through narrow corridors, dodging the hotel staff who were quick to avert their gaze and ignore this all too common scene. The journey ended in a brightly lit parlour with a small bar and an array of lounge chairs. The smell told me the boss was here even before I saw him. Tony was sat next to him, playing it a little confused. The boss went through what may or may not have been a fake speech about how he was disappointed in me and that I had fair warning and that people make mistakes. I got roughed up a little, but not enough for Tony to step in. So now we're back at Mike's bar. It's time to deliver the ammo to Quibani. Hopefully he'll be grateful. We need to make more friends now that Flora has left us. Let's see how grateful he is.
You made it back safely. So, you got the prototype. Very good, thank you.
Well, he was barely grateful at all. He was just like, yep, thanks. Risked your life for me. Wasn't anything in it for you. Oh well. I decided not to go with Paul's mission while I was here, and instead I'm going to go now back to Parla and see if the factions have a more substantial task for me to do, actually continuing my mission towards finding the Jackal. Then things took a turn for the shit. The guy who'd stayed to search my flat turned up looking worried and asked to speak to the boss outside. That was it. It was the end approaching, held down on my knees by the two enforcers, waiting for the boss to come back in, pick up a cushion from a lounger and put a bullet through it into my head. While I was panicking with a dead face, Tony stepped in and asked the guys to let me go. They obeyed. He took me to the back of the room where a case lay on a low bookshelf. The goons must have thought he was about to do some crazy trick to get me talking. I whispered to him that they know, but he'd already worked that one out. He told me to grab the case when he gave the word. That gave me about half a second to get ready, as the boss and the goon came back into the room right then. A final check of their facial expression told us it was over, thanks to me. But right then I wasn't thinking about how this was my fault. I was just thinking about how to survive, even considering using Tony as a human shield to escape. Yeah, I know. So now we're in Parla outside the APR headquarters. They're the only faction with a mission for me, so I'm going to start heading inside as usual, giving up my equipment to the suspicious door guard. I'm hoping this mission is going to be something more productive than usual for the APR. They usually have some crazy stunt because it seems their leader is a little bit of a crazy guy, more interested in causing chaos than actually even winning the war for his faction. So as I come in, there's no one talking like there usually is. It seems he's on his own, so I'm going to sneak in now and see what he has to say just for me.
Hey, this is a good day for us, my friend. You know, this thing with the UFLL has been going on for a long time. Both sides are used to it, everybody understands it. But I'm a man of vision. The big man measured and Bosa said so himself. The APR is stronger now than ever before thanks to you, my friend. So how about we make a real change, destroy the UFLL in the North once and for all. One faction, one leader. Do you understand what I'm saying? I want Kakumba dead. You're the perfect one for the job. Isaac is coming up on Tabum Lights. He thinks it's hidden, but I know the way. You just follow the river and take the trail up to Goga Falls. You come back when you are done, we'll have a drink to celebrate. Here. And more to come. This is a very rich country, and soon it will be our country. Okay, you can go.
So the plan is to take out the leader of the UFLL, another military move from the APR. this time hoping to muscle in, I think, on the UFLL and try and just destroy their faction entirely by taking out their leader, because they want to just assimilate the UFLL into their own faction and hence gain control of the nation and the nation's wealth, more importantly. So we now have secret intel on the location of the leader, so it's going to be relatively easy for me to sneak over and do the deed. He's just upriver, hidden in the mountains. So this time I'm going to be going on my own. Unlike usual faction missions, none of my buddies are going to help me out. So now I need to look for a boat and hit the rivers and start heading towards the target and getting ready for what could be a slightly sordid affair. Tony shouted and we were away, smashing through a set of double doors at the back of the parlour. A hotel contact Gareth was right outside, but we pushed him to the floor and ran. The documents in my flat would have incriminated him too, so I doubt anything good happened to him. Another life ruined by me. We sprinted down the regally decorated corridor and rounded a corner. Anna was standing right there, walking with a bunch of boss's men. Tony slid past, but I slowed down. I gave Anna a tight hug as she asked what was going on, and smashed my way through the men without a goodbye. It was a stupid move, but I would have regretted it if I hadn't done it, so I can forgive myself for that one. So I was away, following the noise of Tony's escape to find the exit, with the boss and a band of muscles 2 seconds behind me. Anna shouted something, and I always hated that I didn't hear what it was. I got outside and spotted Tony rounding a street corner. We had an emergency rendezvous point that he'd probably be expecting to meet me at, but how I was meant to face him after my failure I don't know. The decision had to be delayed as I still had escaping to do. I darted through the street, luckily outpacing the overly leisured higher-ups of the ring, until I managed to get myself on a departing bus that got me out of the city centre. I got off at the very next stop, which was the most clever thing I'd done all day, as the goons had gone to chase the bus in their cars and hadn't caught up with it by then. I ended up in a taxi that took me to a quiet suburb, while the case I'd taken from the hotel sat on the seat beside me. It was only then I started wondering what was in it, and why Tony needed it to be extracted. I walked around the maze of houses for a little until I came to a recreational ground with a small park. Planting myself on a bench, I drew the case up to my lap. It clicked open loudly, revealing a messy pile of documents, cards, and photographs. It was mostly regarding the IRA and their plans. It seemed Tony had skimmed a nice bit of intelligence from the sharks. I read through some of them and it seemed pretty serious. It was not only proof of the funding sources of loads of IRA cells, but it had names and meeting locations spelled out. This case would make a damn big difference to the police operations if they got their hands on it, and here it was in the hands of a current police employee crossing the line into going AWOL. So I'm now pretty close to the location where the UFLL leader is supposedly hiding out, hanging out in his villa up here in the mountains. Now I'm stopping the boat nearby to sneak in on foot, because I think there are some guards up ahead around this small building I can see. I can see one of the guards there already, but my actual destination is quite far up the mountains. You can see here on the map it's somewhere off to my right, so I think I need to start climbing up the sides of these mountains to find wherever it is this guy is hiding out. I've got my sniper rifle, which means if I can spot him at a distance and perhaps fire across one of these mountain valleys, I should have a pretty good chance of escaping after performing the assassination. So we're going to have to see what it's like when I get to the top. I was wondering whether the guys down on this little boathouse would see me as I came up. They did actually shout something as I was moving, so I thought they might have seen me. But I ended up getting away with it. I decided not to fire at them, of course, so as not to give away my position. I don't know whether the rest of the guards for this faction leader are going to be near enough to hear a shot from here, but I'm going to try anyway. So I'm just sneaking up this little mountain path. I fell off there because I wasn't actually paying attention to where I was walking, but now I'm already nearing the top. I can see there's a building up there, just a small snippet at the edge of the wall, up on the other side of the valley, so I need to find a way to get across. I was hoping there'd be a way up here. The other question is, are there going to be guards around all these tight corners, which I was a little bit paranoid about. So I'm going to duck down here and come around this tree quite carefully and just see if I can spot anyone. Now I did see someone standing in front of a bridge over to a building, so I'm guessing I'm in the right place. It looks like the target is inside the building, so I'm probably not going to be able to snipe him. I need to actually cross that bridge. but I'm still not going to reveal my position. I'm going to sneak in and try and be quiet. This guy who's not facing me is an easy target for my silenced pistol. So now I'm going to see what's happening on the other side of the bridge. I can see movement. There are lots of guards hanging around over there. It's going to be hard for me to get across the bridge without being spotted. And now I have a problem that another guard is walking across the bridge towards me. At any moment he's going to spot the body of the dead guard who's just lying in the open. So what I wanted to do was sit here in the corner, and when the guy ran forward to investigate the body, attempt to take him out silently and hope that he doesn't actually shout to any of the other guards before he arrives. The whole place is quite a nice spot actually for a little holiday retreat, so it seems the UFLL leader has got an eye for the beauty of nature. I can see guys running about there on the other side of the river, so the other side of the bridge, sorry, so I think they're probably alerted to something going on. The guy didn't actually approach as close to the dead body as I wanted. I'm able to take him out with my silenced weapon, but I think the enemy have already sussed that something is happening. So I decided to go loud, but they still don't know where I am. Have a nice element of surprise. I managed to kill 2 enemies with a single bullet there. Pretty efficient use of ammunition. The loud gunshot will probably alert them to the fact I'm at least in this general direction, so I need to be careful now. No one's running out though, so I thought I'm going to take this opportunity to see if I can get across the bridge. There's 2 guys down the hill as well by the boathouse. I don't know if they've heard that shot and if they're going to come up behind me, which could be a problem. When I have a look down at my scope now, I can see that one guy is just pissing into the river, so I'm pretty sure he has no idea what's going on. I decided not to fire at him because then his friend would come after me, so I'm going to just leave them clueless down there and advance forward. Pick up some ammo, and now I need to find a way inside the building. That means I have to round this corner, and as I do I spot a guy right there and take him out. There are some more guys behind him. Someone rushes out the building, but he's very inaccurate shooting my pistol. Miss him completely. He shoots me through the wooden wall. It takes off almost all of my health. I'm using another Surette to heal it, but I'm getting pretty low on Surettes now. He hits me again, losing another big blob of my health. I finally take him out, but there's another guy in the background firing a machine gun towards me. I was getting worried that I was going to get attacked from the rear, sitting here peeking around this corner. Looked like no one was there for now, so I'm going to keep peeking. I want to see the guy in the background. There's someone rushing about back there with a machine gun, but I can't spot him properly. But now someone's finally attacking me to the rear, take him out with my sniper rifle with these. He missed me quite badly with his shot. He really missed his opportunity there. So I decided to go around this side of the building and see how things were. Strangely, I wasn't immediately shot as I walked forward, so I thought this is promising. I'm going to keep moving up. But then someone starts firing from the bush, so I didn't see who it was straight away, so I'm going to move back. Then I see muzzle flares. They're somewhere behind this tree. Someone's got a pistol and is firing wildly at me. It looks like they do have a more substantial weapon on their back. They're not using it. I can barely see them. I managed to just about take them out through a bush with a bit of careful observation. Now I just spotted the faction leader through the window there. I could take him out right now, but I wanted to actually head inside the building and get some cover because I was worried about what was going to happen when I actually shot him. So I'm collecting up a bunch of ammo from all the dead guards. I think I've cleared out everyone outside, sorry. The target is just standing there. He doesn't seem too perturbed by the fact I'm coming in here. He calls me Simon for some reason, and then he offers me some money. Then he's going to pull the classic trick of pretending to just stand there and then pulling out a gun and trying to kill me. So I fired a shot in self-defense, hit him in the face, and now he's gone. Just like that, we've taken out the leader of the UFLL. It was easy after all, but suddenly 3 guys are wandering about in the other room of this little building. I'm trying to take them out with my silenced pistol, finally achieving it. I thought that was weird, where did they come from? And then I realised that of course after doing this a whole bunch of enemies are going to spawn in the area because I'm going to have to try and make my escape from this building and get past them. And indeed, as I look out the window, a hail of machine gun fire comes in. I managed to take out a couple of guys firing wildly. I'm going to see if I can escape out of this door. I realise it's a good idea to take this light machine gun off the ground rather than using my RPG. That's not going to be too useful in this little gunfight situation. I'm going to give them a grenade, hopefully to clear out those 2 guys that were hanging around out there. There's still more bullets coming in. Loads of bullets coming through the wall, which is really annoying. When I'm ducked, a lot of them miss me, fortunately. But still, it's really restricting this the use of this building as cover. The good side is that I can do the same thing to them. I can just fire at the wall and hope that I'm hitting enemies behind it. I can see little heads over the top of the window there, so I know there are some guys back there. We have a massive blast, and then I hear a scream, which means I did actually manage to hit someone. Suddenly a grenade goes off. I had no idea a grenade had come into the building. It doesn't quite kill me, came very close though. I'm trying to heal up, but I'm still being shot through the wall. At the take out these guys who are coming to attack me through the doorway. I'm almost dead. Again, looks like it's a broken arm this time. I'm going to shove it back into position, use another Surette to get my health back, and now I'm okay. There are still more guys firing through the wall. I can see a guy peeking through the window. I take him out with a quick burst. So, how many more guys are out there? I don't know. I'm going to reload and prepare to actually make my way out. I can see more guys wandering around in front of the door. I'm going to try and just shoot through the wall. I'm using a grenade to clear them out of cover. I don't think I killed anyone with a grenade, but then it looks like some ammunition exploded after I threw the grenade. The secondary explosion actually took someone out. And then another guy tries his luck with the door, and his body joins the pile of enemy bodies in the doorway now. So the next question on my mind was that as I escape, is there somewhere else I'm supposed to be going? So I need to quickly check the map. There are no objectives on the map. It says here my objective is just to escape in general. So I thought I'll just try and escape the way I came in, because I know I can get back down to my boat and get away from here. So as I start moving, someone sneaks around the corner, a quick burst takes them out. The rest of this part of the building is clear. There's a guy on the other side of the valley firing at me from a pretty good position to take him out with a couple of bursts. So now we're mostly okay. I have a peek around the corner and see there are at least one more guy hanging out in the forest just to the north of the building. I'm going to take him out with a few bursts. Doesn't really matter at this stage though, so I'm just going to abandon that side and start moving across the bridge. I can see there's a guy hanging out behind the tree over there. The tree, unfortunately, is providing cover for him at the moment, so I'm going to have to actually come a little bit down the bridge to get line of sight on him properly and take him out. I was wondering if the guy is down there as well, might come up to see me. My boat's still there, at least I can see through my scope, so I know I've got somewhere to get out of here. The enemy reacted pretty poorly to seeing me, and I managed to take him out straight away. So now I've got, I think, a clear escape. I can rush down this mountain path. It looked like there are no more guys coming up it. They'd probably already reached the building and are being massacred in that little gunfight just there. So I'm going to make my way down. The question though is, are any of the guys who were around this boathouse still there, or did they come to join the fight? It looks like they must have come to join in because they're not there anymore. So I'm fairly safe to make my way down this cliff. Start heading back towards my boat. It seems I've gotten away with it. The mission objective is complete, and now someone's on the phone. Let's have a listen.
It's Ruben Olwagembe, the reporter from the bar. Listen, the situation has changed, and I think it's going to affect both of us. I need to speak with you. Please, can you meet me at the lumber camp outside of town? It's isolated there.
So it seems that me killing the UFLL leader has accelerated the political change in South Mali, such that Ruben the reporter, who is a guy who has close links with the Jackal, wants to meet with me and speak about something important. We'll see what that is in the next episode of Frank's Penance.